Welcome to Zone In Sports, your favorite spot for real talk, bold takes, and everything in the zone when it comes to sports. From hard-hitting analysis of the Miami Hurricanes football to the hottest stories across the sports world, we're bringing you that energy, passion, and a little bit of swagger, just like the U. So whether you're tailgating in the Coral Gables or arguing in the group chats or just vibing in your way to work, buckle up. You're in the zone with your host, D. Hamp.
All righty out there. How's everybody doing today? Today's topic is Mario building a dynasty? Now, before we get started, I got Big E. He's in the background. If you like to purchase one of these shirts right here, tap into the affiliate link. I think you get a small percentage. Also, there's a poll that I put down concerning this topic. So if you guys want to tap into that poll and drop your comment, me and E finna touch on it right now. So no further ado, we're going to bring them up to the stage. What's up, E?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey, people have been asking about you. I say he coming back, man. Hey, y'all ain't got to worry about him, man. He gonna be back.
Hey, you know how it is out there when you work 2 days off. Sometimes you got to cram so much in. It's like, damn, I had a lot of stuff going on. It's about to get,
Yeah, I already know.
It don't stop.
Hey, now I posted before we get into the poll that we're talking about today. I did a live last week about Nick Lanier. Interesting. The poll was it a massive recruiting win, a solid pickup, too early to tell, and I need more to see? 86% of the people out of the 50 said it was a massive recruiting win. Basically 10%, 8% said it was a solid pickup. I believe one vote, which was 6%, said we need to see more. What is your take on the Nick Lanier signing?
I'm somewhere in between a massive pickup and the next one. We haven't been able to land big time 5-star South Florida receivers and secondary too. We've lost out a couple years ago on a cornerback that was 5-star. We lost out on a linebacker a few years ago that went to Michigan. Of course, Jeremiah Smith. This was big getting this kid. And for him to announce early, it kind of reminded me of what Duke Johnson did, so that's big. That speaks volumes. And when I'm looking at the pipeline now coming for 27 and 28, it's like, okay, it's some other 5-stars now. They really looking at Miami hard. And some of them are even committed to other schools or say, but they still looking at Miami very hard.
Right.
And the fan base should be really optimistic right now.
Yeah.
Everybody in this fan base, they should really be optimistic right now because Miami hasn't had it like this in a long time.
And I was wondering, is the pipeline broken with him?
No.
I mean,
this is really.
No, I mean, broken where they broke it from other teams.
Yes, poaching. I mean, Miami has the SEC in the uproar right now.
Yes.
Okay. Our fan base needs to stop and think about this for a minute, that the Southeastern Conference is in an uproar. And I said this before. Remember, I told you years ago, I said this. I said, once Miami turned the corner and they start picking up some of these recruits, whether you're saying they paying money or not, because everybody's paying now.
Everybody paying.
I said, once these kids get a taste of what's down there, why? They're not going to go to Athens. They're not going to go to Tuscaloosa. They're not going to go to Columbus, Ohio. If I can make money on the NIL in a world-class city where I can get more exposure versus a regular college town, and they winning, and they really winning.
Yeah.
Look, Miami was one drive away at the 50-yard line from winning a national title.
Right.
Okay. This kid coming is going to just kick the doors open a little bit more. Yeah. I can go play with Malachi Tony. I can go play with this kid they picked up, this Van Stafford kid from California. He's another Barrios type kid. Old
More
boy,
speed.
more speed, more
Yeah.
boy. Old boy coming from Duke with the quarterback this year.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, man. This we ought to be really happy outside of everything else that's going on outside of college football, within college football right now. You got the SEC in the uproar. You got Nick Saban and them wanting to go to politicians to try to change things in football because
I saw
they don't have the grip any longer.
I saw that.
Did you see
They
that?
all trying to petition.
Nick Saban need to pump his brakes, man, because
Man.
what they upset because now I told you, I said, when Miami can do what they doing, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It is an absolute wrap. 25 years ago, they didn't have to do all that.
Right.
Butch Davis recruited kids and got the Santana Mosses and Reggie Waynes and Brian McKinney's and Clinton Portis's without NIL money. But now, when you got money involved and you got paying people.
All right. We got something that's totally off a topic. We're going to hop right back in it, but I just want to tap this in at the beginning of the show. Since it is NCAA selection, they got a question for you and I. I guess I'll answer first and let you answer. It says, hey, guys, I have a quick question for you guys. What's up, Jamaica? Are you guys more of a Missouri basketball fan or a Miami basketball college fan? Me, myself, neither. I am a Syracuse Orangemen fan all the way back to the Sherman Douglas, Ronnie Cycli days. I've always followed them when I was in high school. So I do watch Missouri. I do watch Miami, but I am more of a Syracuse fan.
I'm
Shout out to
disappointed.
Carmelo.
I'm a Hurricane basketball fan, but I'm also a SLU basketball fan.
Yes.
And I pull for Missouri. They're the home state. I was a big Cincinnati fan. I used to be a Q's fan when they had Lawrence Moten. That was my man.
Yeah.
I was a big Moten fan. Rest in peace. My favorite team is UNLV back in the day.
Yeah.
With Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony, and Stacey Augmon. To me, that's the greatest college basketball team of all time. I
used to like the old Loyola Marymount with my man with two guys that used to run all the time. What was his name? Because one of them died on the court, didn't they? For Loyola Marymount. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, and also caveat, I do watch SLU too, because of course my son graduated from SLU.
You, man. And, so I mean they lost yesterday. I was like, how y'all lose this? It was a Dayton? Turnovers. I'm like, but I'm a root for the Canes. I was disappointed Friday when they lost to Virginia like that. But same with the basketball. I think they need another piece or two. The coaching is there. I like him, the coach they got. I like the pieces they have. They just need a few more pieces, man, to be able to run with those bigger teams.
Right.
It's going to be interesting, man. I'm not as quite into the March Madness as I used to be because I miss basketball from the 90s, man.
Yeah.
College or pro. I really do, man. I really miss the basketball from the 90s and even in the 2000s.
And I'm not going straight too often to basketball, but the reason I'm like you on that is because of you got guys that's leaving early. When we were younger, guys stayed years, and it made college basketball so much more interesting.
Way more exciting, in the 90s, with the Fab Five. And like I said, UNLV way back in 89 and 90. I always felt, Kenyon Martin didn't break his leg. Cincinnati would have won a natty that year.
There wasn't no one and dones back then.
Yeah, it wasn't like now. Now, when Calipari was at Kentucky, he had that all 5 freshmen go first round. That was cool, but
just think if they would have came back. Look how good they would have been their junior year. You know what I'm saying? They were seeing them multiple years. So it's just
a lot of people did that. Even our local guys, Larry Hughes went to SLU for a year, went pro. What's his name? He went to Florida for 1 year. Bradley Beal, was that it?
Yeah, went to where?
Went to Florida. He went to the Gators for 1 year and then went pro.
No.
He went to the same school that my man with the Celtics went to.
Bradley Beal? I thought Beal went to
he went to the Gators. He played for Florida.
Man, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he went to the Gators. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
today is 1 year, 2 year, whereas back in the old days when you had like Houston with the five slammer jammer and Ralph Sampson with Virginia, you
yeah,
knew dudes. I got to play this dude for the next 2-3 years.
yeah,
Before
yeah,
you
yeah.
leave the league. And
Alonzo Mourning and Georgetown and them
yeah,
boys and all
yeah.
that.
I
Yeah,
was a Georgetown
yeah,
fan way
yes,
back when I was a kid back in the 80s too. I liked watching Georgetown. So it was a lot of teams you liked because it was players you liked.
yeah,
Illinois had some players.
yeah,
They had Kenny Anderson and them back in the day.
yeah,
Illinois had a squad. So
yeah.
it's
It's just a
it's
different
different
time. All right, we're gonna take one more, then we're gonna get back on topic and say that's crazy, D, because I'm a Q's fan. Also, you could believe what I'm saying. I'm saying about red players. He threw he threw the players under the bus. Very sad. I think they should go away from Syracuse this time. Yeah, I agree.
when Lawrence Moten was with Syracuse, dude, I was a big Moten fan, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
liked him a lot, man. I really
yeah,
liked Lawrence Moten in college, man. I really did. I
yeah,
used to watch Syracuse all the time and that's back when you had the rivalries, man. A lot
yeah.
of basketball rivalries. Your St.
That Big East
John's,
rivalry was something else, boy. Them Big
yeah.
East teams, St. John, Syracuse, Georgetown, NC
DePaul
State.
was
Yeah,
good. You
yeah,
had a lot of good teams, and even like 5 years ago, back in 21. In 23, the March Madness was good because you had a lot of good. Baylor was good. Oregon was good. It was just
yeah,
exciting to watch it, man. Like I
yeah.
said, I'm not saying this year ain't exciting. I just haven't really
Yeah, I know.
had,
Tough year.
had the time, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you're younger, you got more time, and when you get old, it's like
You need to go ahead and retire, but let's get back on time. All right. So Mario, what is your take? Because it's interesting when we talk about Mario, and we got to divide it. Mario from recruiting, from Mario from coaching. So that's why I try to distinguish the two and strictly titled this Recruiting Building a National Championship, because we know we got to put it all together coaching wise. But what is your take on his recruiting from his first year till now? And have you seen any changes in his recruiting style? I don't think I have, but have you?
I haven't seen there's no changes with the way he recruits. He's been recruiting the same. The changes have been the NIL. The changes have been what Miami has done on the field. There's going to be a certain group of kids that are going to commit to Miami no matter what. And they're going to be other group of young men who want to see what's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I walking into something where it's a winning thing already? Remember I said all these kids today, they don't have the same mindset. I'm going to work. I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it on me and put in the work. The Maui Nogas and Baines, they came in, 4 years ago as freshmen. Miami wasn't. They went 5-7.
Yeah,
Middle Tennessee State and some of the big time, and other schools could use that against Miami with the recruiting. They're gonna look at Miami. They losing at home. They losing to Virginia, and they losing to Middle Tennessee State, and get blown out by North Carolina.
right.
Of all schools, they use that against Miami. So his recruiting hasn't changed. I think the NIL has changed. And the trajectory of the program going from 5-7 to 7-5 to 10-3 to now you went 13-3 in the Natty, 50 yards from winning it.
Right.
Okay, so now these kids are coming in like, hey, we got Malachi Tony, we got the running game, the line, everything is in place. It's just okay. We was just 50 yards away. 50 yards away. It is what it is, but 50 yards away. So what little intangibles are going to be to make up for that? And with the way Miami has been going the last few years, it's not like they're going to take a nosedive.
Right.
Each year they have improved. Each year his coaching has improved. Okay?
Yeah.
So I give Mario an A+ in recruiting, and I give him an A in coaching. And the only reason why I wouldn't, as of right now,
right.
And the only reason why I wouldn't give him an A+, like I said, in my opinion, the only call I questioned again was back in the Natty. in the first half, he kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 2.
Right.
Because either way, you walked into the halftime 10-0. I would have rather walked in 10-0 knowing I didn't get the first down trying to run it when I probably would have got it versus missing the field goal. But that's my take.
Right.
Other than that, you didn't see him do anything stupid with play calling. The SMU game was the worst officiated game I ever seen this year.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch that game, it was horribly officiated. But Mario didn't – he played the clock well in the Natty. He played the clock well against Ole Miss, against A&M, against Ohio State. I ain't got no problem with the way he's coaching. I got no problem with some of the coaches leaving to go to the NFL, because if I'm an assistant coach and I'm in college and the NFL team call me and offer me a job with more money, hey, I'm going up. I'm stepping up.
Yeah.
It's like going from being the assistant manager of the job to the manager. Or it's like me going from the director of the local operation to being the regional director now. So it's a step up for these coaches. So I'm not mad, upset, I should say, about that. It happens.
Right.
Keep our coordinators in place. The university pay them. You're gonna go out and find other quality coaches, the tight end coach, the running back coach, a special teams coach, a strength and conditioning coach, whatnot. They out there.
Right.
Keep Dawson, keep Heatherman, keep that intact, pay them, and I'm not worried about it, man. I think this year.
I got a question for you now. Now, this is something here I don't gonna say we touched on this last week, and it's a little bit off topic. What player disappointed you most last year? I know we only usually talk about the most positive things, but I just want to throw that out there. And if anybody has a player that disappointed them last year, put it in the chat. It's nothing to
I would
rail
have
on the
to say
player.
the player that what player disappointed me? The wide receiver that transferred to NC State, the local boy that he played with Jeremiah in high school. They were side by side. He showed potential and flashes of being just as good as Jeremiah, but 1 minute you catching the ball, and the next minute you bobbling the ball, and it's a turnover for SMU, or you dropping passes.
Mm-hmm.
Who disappointed me? I don't know, Dwayne. I can't think of anybody that was disappointing. I'm not going to say Elijah Lofton was disappointed, because he took some massive hits, and he went out there and.
See, I said Elijah, but
I don't think Elijah was.
I said it because of injuries. That's why I'm gonna say.
So I don't call that disappointing. That play against Ole Miss, he caught that ball and took a massive hit, and it cost him playing. I think if he would have been playing in the Natty, Miami would have won the Natty. So
somebody put Jordan Lyle, but he was injured too. And
I was hurt. I'm not disappointment on somebody getting hurt. Okay, players that are hurt, I'm not going to do that. Players to me that didn't, I can't think of nobody I was disappointed.
I'm a friend like this.
There were some instances where I was disappointed with maybe some of the play, but they made up for it in other play. Like my man Marion. I was disappointed in the Florida State game when he had the illegal procedure where he took a step forward where Malachi scored again. Malachi would have had 3 in that game, and they called it back because of that illegal. That was a disappointing on his part, that particular play. But he made up for it in other games being the man, like against Ole Miss.
Right.
So I can't think of anybody I was disappointed in. We didn't have any. The only person I could think of that disappointed me was maybe the defensive tackle, number 11, Blay. He did some couple foolish things, like in the Ole Miss game, he cost Miami 15 yards. Coming in late, tackling a dude. That was an undisciplined thing on. That was disappointing.
Right.
I'm not going to say his overall play was disappointing. I think the team overall, there was nothing really. Nobody was really disappointing on a consistent basis.
Let me frame it like this, because I know a lot of people out there would think we know guys get injured, but just say if guys' careers ended tomorrow. So say if we go out next year and Jordan Lyle is injured, or Elijah is injured, or whoever is injured, how would their career be defined? Would it be defined as disappointing? I think it would be. So injuries are a part of the game. And the only reason I said that it was Elijah, just because of the expectations coming in, he kind of started a little slow. And I think it was, I don't know, is it more because of the scheme that they were throwing out there? Because Malachi at the beginning was getting he was coming on so early. Because remember, at the beginning of the season, Elijah was the one that they say, oh, we can line up in the slot. We can line him up in the backfield.
Yep,
We can line him up. And
yep.
that turned out to be Malachi. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of threw me off with that. So, but that's not to say that he's not a great player. And when he comes back healthy next year, that he's not going to perform kind of like how Ruben Bain was injured and came back the next year. And we know what he did last year. So, Lyle's situation, yeah, health is just part of the thing when you're running back. You got to be able to stay on the field, else you're going to be considered. It's going to be disappointing to you as a player too if you injured all the time and you can't stay healthy.
Nobody wants to be hurt. They want to play.
Yeah.
People want to play, man. Like you said, nobody wants to be hurt.
No.
I mean, that's foolish to even insinuate something like that. Nobody wants to be hurt, man.
Yeah.
I just think I can't think of nobody that was disappointing to me, bro. I really can't. I mean, there have been certain plays and instances where somebody might have been on a play or two disappointing, but overall play, I don't see it. I really don't see it. I think that's another thing our fan base should be really happy with is the fact that there's consistency on both sides of the ball. Like I said, outside of particular plays, even my man who missed the block in the natty, that was disappointing on that particular play.
Right.
But dude played well as tight end all year.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch him in the games, he made contested catches. He made big catches against Pitt, against Virginia Tech. Especially when Lofton was hurt. I just think there wasn't much there for the tight end because of Malachi, because Marion was doing well, because CJ Daniels had really good hands for the most part and caught a lot of good contested balls.
Right.
People have to understand that they're not running that type of. You're not running that type of offense where it's exclusive to the tight end.
Right.
Hey, Georgia ran shit that was exclusive to Brock Bowers, which made Carson Beck look really well. And the beneficiary of that was McConkey, because when they was doubling Brock Bowers, McConkey had a lot of one-on-ones, and that's why Carson Beck had an outstanding 2023 season. Yards-wise, stat-wise, Brock Bauer was just a man amongst boys, and especially at the tight end position. And Kirby Smart in that offense at Georgia built the offense kind of around him. Well, in this case, the offense was kind of built around Malachi.
Right.
You didn't build an offense around your tight end. You look at your tight end as somebody that could be another weapon when they bracket and double Malachi. So now going into this next season, everybody got the cheat code on Malachi Tony now.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to find something else, because they're going to bracket him. They're going to double him. You want to get him in space and whatnot. Okay. The running game is going to be important. This is where I say, okay, in my opinion, I'm going to incorporate another style of offense along with the spread to confuse other teams, to mix it up, i.e., I may run some I formation now, because remember, 25 years ago when Rob Chizinski was the OC for Miami, it was pretty much a lot of I formation, a lot of traps, counters for Clinton Portis and McGahee and Frank Gore. But who was the beneficiary of that? Jeremy Shockey at tight end, and then Kellen Winslow. You couldn't cover them. You couldn't one-on-one them guys.
Right.
And they became exclusive.
Because they didn't run power out a lot this year. Only a couple of times, I think, around the goal line a couple of times.
Back then, the tight end, when I run an I formation or a single back set and I'm play action pass, the tight end is open. Almost every play he's open. They're not going to double team him. They're too busy worrying about the backs. the safety either going to come help the corner on a wide receiver or not. That's going to lead the tight end one-on-one with either a safety or a linebacker. Advantage tight end.
Mm-hmm.
In today's offense, when you're running these spreads, now it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a whole different, not saying you can't scheme plays for a tight end, but it's not the same. And
yeah, because tight end is built different in the spread too. You need a tight end with a little speed. You're not
a
putting
little speed now. And I'm not saying Jeremy didn't. Chalky had speed and size, and he had heart. Him and Winslow had heart. They were dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that our tight ends aren't dogs. It's you schemed everything this year for Malachi. Just like the year before, you schemed everything really for Cam Ward. And Cam would just have to find who we want to find.
Restrepo, basically, they had to take Restrepo out.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they took Restrepo away, it left somebody else like Isaiah Horton.
Yeah.
That left to go to Bama. And is he leaving Bama? He's leaving to go somewhere else again, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. Somebody got disagree with you on this, but you can finish your point. I'll put it up.
I mean, that's fine. People can disagree. That's cool.
He said, I totally disagree with number 87. 87 tight end, right? Yeah. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. I think he's been blocking shaky all year, and we didn't pick up on it right away and fix it right away. It also hurt us at last minute in a natty.
I mean, I won't disagree with that. I'm not saying 87 was lights out. I just said that there were times that he came through and he made some good catches, contested catches. He did his thing at times.
Right.
Okay. It's just overshadowed by the bigger things that happen. That's going to overshadow that. No good deed goes unpunished. So,
and you're not going to consistently play bad for Mario and still get on the field.
Right.
So I mean, that's just
another one. So I would have to say I'm not disagreeing with Jamaica Kane completely on that. I just think that what was it? Whatever his name was, Brockemeyer or something. No, that's the center. I give him a B minus overall season. I'm not gonna. I give him a B minus. Maybe a B. He didn't do bad. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't that. His blocking could have been was shaky at times, but I think a lot of that's the scheme too, man. Because like I said, Dwayne, when you in the spread offense, the center, the guards, and the tackle, they might not be in a 3-point stance.
Right.
Be in a 2-point stance for pass play. So we used to football when you're in a 3-point stance and you firing off the ball and you're being the aggressor, you're taking it to the defender.
Right.
Whereas in today's football now, when you run a spread, you dropping back and you using your hands and feet to block and you letting the defender come at you.
Right.
You're not attacking them. I'd like to see more of the line attacking the defense, taking it to them. You see it on certain run plays, but on a lot of run plays you don't. And especially
they run that zone read or whatever.
Right. If I got a really aggressive, big, elite line, I want to use that line at times to attack.
Right.
Versus be on the defense to defend and try to defend that end coming around the corner. Whereas if I'm in a 3-point stance, I want to fire off at him and hit him.
Right.
I want to hit him because that. Remember, sometimes the 3-point stance, you don't know if the defender don't know if it's a pass or a run.
Right.
He may think it's a run play and it's a pass play, but if I got my tackle and guard coming at you hard, they got to respond to that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't know if it's a pass or a run unless I'm in a 2-point stance and I'm dropping back immediately and I'm trying to get my proper footwork. I'm letting you come at me as a defender versus me taking it to you. All that play into everything to me on offense. So
now you talked a little bit about this earlier, and we're talking about the historical aspect of athletes leaving the state of Florida. We got Alabama, of course. We know how receivers been going there. Georgia, Ohio State been getting receivers. Like LSU been getting more of the D-backs out the state. Georgia been getting linemen out the state. So the crazy part is, let's talk about the historical aspect of players leaving over the last 10-ish years or so, 15 years or so.
Yeah, we look, two things. money, and winning.
Mm.
Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, old boy at Ohio State, those 4 schools, they've been winning. They can come into your living room with you and your spouse and your child and your son, and they can say, look, on top of whatever we're going to give you under the table, because back then there wasn't no NIL.
Right.
We're going to throw you a Charger or a Challenger. We'll find your mama and daddy a really good job, line you up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's been going on. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get your son in the league. Give me 2 years with him, and I'm going to get him in the league. As a parent, as the student athlete, you're going to be like, that's the ultimate goal, to get to the NFL. It's no different than what Calipari said to them kids when he walked into their living room. Said,
Right.
Give me 1 year with your son, I'm going to put him in the NBA. And he was true on that.
Yeah.
More than 5-6 times he backed up what he said. So when you see Nick Saban walking in your house and he wants your kid and he telling you, give me a couple years, maybe 3, he's going to put in the work, but I put him in the NFL. I'm not going to go to Miami because Miami ain't saying that.
Right.
Miami wasn't paying no money. And Manny Diaz was the coach. Or even Mark Richt, and nothing against Mark Richt. Mark Richt was doing something, but they still was missing the bigger pieces because they didn't have the bag that these bigger schools had. They weren't on the national scene like Bama was and Clemson was and Georgia started. Remember, Kirby Smart took over at Georgia and Alabama was still whooping him at first.
Yeah.
They was losing. Georgia was beating everybody but Bama.
So do you think it's more, well, we all know it all plays a part, but do you think of some of the coaching decisions along the way made players want to leave too? Maybe not as strong a connect in the community?
Sure it is. I mean, coaching decisions, the fact that, okay, even with Mario, look at old boy that went to Texas, the 5-star running back that was committed to Miami the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, at the last minute, Texas threw a bag at him so big. But I guarantee you, Mark Fletcher said he was coming back, right?
Yeah.
About 2/3 of the way through the season or when the playoffs hit, he said, I'm coming back. I promise you, they already knew that before the end. We just found that out.
Well, yeah.
So you think that didn't play as a factor on old boy's decision to go to Texas on top of the money?
Yeah.
Do I want to sit behind Mark Fletcher for a year and sit behind Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle and Pringle Jr.?
Yeah.
Dude said, no, not only is Texas told him the same thing. Do you want to wait behind Fletcher? Do you want to start?
Yeah.
On top of that, we're going to give you and your family so much goddamn money, y'all ain't going to be able to say no.
Right.
And the day he was supposed to choose, what'd he do? Hook 'em horns. He threw all that shit.
Right.
I ain't mad at him because
Right.
he said, you're going to start and you're going to have enough money now. When the NFL do come calling, the guaranteed contract may or may not even play a factor because we got so much oil money, we done broke you off proper already.
Yeah.
Already. Even if you bust your leg and never play again, you set for the rest of your life because we done already gave you some millions. So if you were to get hurt in a couple years down the road, God forbid, you still going to be good. Your family going to be good. Right. On top of the fact that, hey, you ain't got to wait behind Mark Fletcher.
Yeah.
You ain't got to wait behind Jordan Lyle or Pringle Jr. because they already are ahead of you seniority-wise. They've already proven their game in college. You was a stud in high school. You're going to have to come in here and work. And remember, a lot of these kids don't want to come in and work now.
Yeah.
They want to go somewhere right now and play. They want the money, and they want to play now. They ain't trying to go in and wait and put in the work and compete.
Right.
This ain't the days with Edgerrin James and Clinton Portis. Remember, Clinton wasn't coming to Miami. He was going to leave because he asked Edge, are you coming to stand? Because that was a big deal to him. And Edge said, it shouldn't matter if I'm coming to stand. You come here for the competition.
Right.
And these kids now, when you tell them that now, he could have asked the same thing to Fletcher. You coming or going?
Right, yeah.
When Fletcher said, I'm staying, dude was like, well. And all the Florida State fans, right on. All the Florida State fans argue with me right now. When I said Cook Remember, Cook from Miami.
Right, yeah.
Cook was supposed to go to Florida. And then he ended up going to Florida State.
Right.
Because old boy was the coach that went to A&M. What was his name at Florida State? Jimbo told him,
yeah,
you come to Florida State, I'm starting you as a freshman. Duke Johnson already committed to Miami because he considered Miami. Cook considered Miami. I don't give a shit what the FSU fans said. It was out there. He considered staying home, but Al Golden was committed to Duke Johnson because Duke Johnson shut down his recruitment and said, I'm going to be a Hurricane. He didn't want to come in and play behind Duke Johnson. He went to Florida State because Florida State said, hey, you come here, we're going to start you as a freshman. So having said all that, it's the same today with these kids.
Yeah.
Unless they really want to go to the school, they're going to go where they can get some click right away and they don't have to compete. I'm going to walk in. I was a star in high school. I'm going to walk right in and I'm going to be a star right away at this college. Right. That's why old boy went to Syracuse. Even though his mama got into a book and his mama is a legacy at Miami. Why ain't he coming to Miami? He went to Northwestern, he's a receiver.
Yeah.
Syracuse gave him a bag and they told him, you're going to be the man when you come here.
On top of his relationship with the coach, too.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, Fran Brown, punk ass, he know he ain't going to be no better than 3-9 or 4-12. But, hey, you come here, the team gonna suck, but you're gonna be the man. You're gonna get all the numbers and stats. We done paid you. It's gonna be all about you.
For a year or two.
Or two.
Yeah, or two. You know.
We see guys play on teams that ain't worth a damn, but guess what? But they the shit.
Right. But then they want to win. Ultimately, they wind up leaving. Since Cooper is going to say beyond Hollywood smoother. Cooper is going to say.
That's the running back.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at him because he went to Texas. Get money at the end of the day, like they get money.
Yeah.
Junior Mafia told you, get money.
This is Cooper. I think Cooper is going to sit by and back and running back at Texas. I'm almost sure.
He might. There's some other backs there. He might. It depends on what he do in practice in spring. I'm gonna pay attention to all these kids everywhere, not just Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spring practice, what, a couple weeks away starting?
Yeah.
He got to prove himself.
It says Fletcher welcome Martinez. It says Fletcher welcome Martinez.
Sure did.
Yep.
Sure did.
Yep.
Martinez could have went other places. See, that's what I'm saying. Some kids you got to want to come to whatever school he wanted to come to Miami.
Yeah.
Fletcher welcomed him. Fletcher didn't look at it as like, oh, here this motherfucker come. He proven at Oregon State he gonna take all my time. No, they sure. Martinez was really the feature back last of the camp.
Hey, it reminds me of Marty Brown when he came here, and then people was kind of throwing. And I'm like, hey, my man beasted when he out there. He reliable on third down, got great hands.
He was the #1 running back in that division at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And now North Dakota State then came up to D1. He could have stayed.
Right.
And he coming back this year.
Yeah.
So you know what? It depends on the student athlete, what they want, what their family want, and then the coaching, and then what the team is doing overall. And what Miami is doing right now, they have all the right pieces, they have the right recipe, and they're on the right trajectory. So now it's giving these kids a moment of pause. Okay, do I really want to leave home? If I don't go to Miami, do I want to leave the state altogether? Florida and FSU are tanking.
Yeah.
We don't know much about UCF. Well, the coach of South Florida, he had something going, but I can't be mad at him. He went to Auburn.
Auburn, yeah.
Step up for him. He went to Auburn and took his quarterback with him.
Right.
So South Florida might be right back to being average at best. You know, we'll see what Brian Hartline does at UCF. That's going to hurt Ohio State because he was their #1 recruiter. He got all the Njigbas and Jeremiah Smiths. That was Ohio State bread and butter was Brian Hartline because he was getting all the receivers out of Florida.
Right.
Guess what? Now he's in Florida. That's the team to watch is UCF and Orlando.
Right.
Because now he going to be, hey, if you don't want to go to Miami, if you don't want to go to FSU, they're a dumpster fire. We don't know what the Gators gonna be look like. Hey, take a look at us here in Central Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't see Ohio State making as much noise. I don't see Indiana making as much noise. I really don't. I think, it's going to be somebody else. I think USC in the Big Ten is going to be a team. I think Michigan is still going to be there. I think Iowa's still going to be plugging away as far as they're concerned. But as far as the ACC is concerned, there's only one clear-cut team. I think Virginia, I'm not sure about Virginia. I'm not going to speak too much on them. Yep. They had a good season last year.
Louisville look like they making some moves. So
Louisville, Louisville ain't no bums. We don't have them on the schedule, man. I think that's a rivalry now in football is Louisville because, they're not as much as the other pundits trying to make it seem like Miami lost to 2 bums. I'm like, no, SMU and Louisville ain't no bums.
Mm-mm.
They finished 8-4 and both of them won a bowl game. So all that shit from last year about Miami losing, kick rocks with that.
Right.
I see all them Notre Dame people, some of them, not all of them. I think any football person that know football know that if you understand the game, that things happen.
It says no, Edge was gone a year before Portis got here.
Portis got there in 99, but he was being recruited in 98. Edge left early. Edge could have stayed in 99, but he decided to bounce early, and he got drafted first round of the Colts. Yeah. He could have stayed another year. Portis came as a freshman that fall of 99. Edge left. He didn't graduate, but the 98 season was his last year, 98, 99. Edgerrin could have came. That's why Portis asked him, are you coming back?
Yeah.
Edgerrin said, it shouldn't be about me coming back or not. It's about the competition. Edgerrin ended up going in the draft, and he got drafted by the Colts in 99. Okay, and then Portis came as a freshman that fall of 99.
Yeah.
So Edgerrin could have stayed his senior year, but he decided to go. He didn't graduate from Miami in 99. He was supposed to be a 2G. He left. If I'm not mistaken, he was a 2G kid, right along with Bubba Franks.
Bubba.
Okay. 98, the 98-99 school year, I believe, was Edgerrin James's junior year. It might have been his sophomore year, but I think it was his junior year. So as a junior, he did what he did against UCLA and all that big game. And that's when he decided to go in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Portis was a senior in high school that same school year. And Miami was wanting him. He was from Gainesville. The Gators wanted him, but the Gators wanted to put him at cornerback. He didn't want to play cornerback. And that's when he asked Portis, are you coming back next year? Talking about the 1999 season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he told him, no, it shouldn't matter if I'm coming back or not. You come to Miami for the competition.
Period.
So that's that. But these kids today are built different. A lot of them. It's just a whole different thing.
It says, this one I want to say, really as a running back, you don't want all those hits coming out of college. You really need 1 or 2 great years and all that punishment on your body as a running back. Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting that he brings that up because I don't think, well, I can't speak for you, Eric, but we come up in the same generation. Running backs didn't really worry about that. It's just more now that you get.
I don't know what it's the same with the NBA. Look how soft they are.
Yeah.
They play 82 games. They got to sit out. I'm tired.
Like running back wasn't saying, man, I didn't want to get hit that much.
I'm asking my fan base.
Okay, go ahead, Gio. He got a question for you.
Think back now. When we won the Natty in 01, who was the featured running back? Who got all the click every game, every week after week? Clinton Portis. Did nobody worry about him getting hurt? Did nobody saying, man, he tired? None of that. The next year, who got all the click? Remember, Jared Payton didn't get in the game till in the fourth quarter or something when Miami had the game secured. When they beat the shit out of Washington Huskies that night back in November of 2001, remember that game? Clinton was getting all the Payton didn't get in the game till later. Even the next year. Back then, it wasn't no 1-2 combination. You had a fullback and a tailback. My tailback is my man, week in and week out. It wasn't no worried about is he tired? All this? No, the other running back didn't get no click except on punts and kickoff special teams. Same with the tight end. Same with the any other player, linebackers. Wasn't no substitute like we do today.
Right.
I don't know
You're not
what
saying
it
that they
is.
don't make the game better, but yeah, I understand keeping it more fresh. But you didn't have a lot of spread either.
No, you
back
didn't.
then. So
No, you
know,
didn't. It was a lot. I don't know if I want to say it was more physical then. I think on the line of scrimmage in the I formation, it was a little bit more physical because your O linemen and D linemen were at it all the time. You didn't see a lot of subbing on the D line back then. Remember, Vince Wilfork didn't get in the games a lot. He didn't get in there a lot.
Yeah.
It's like you had to pay your dues and wait your turn to play because the guys that were out there, they was playing. Like I said, Vince Wilfork was a freshman in 01, and as great as he got some click, but William Joseph and them was the dudes at the time. They didn't come out to get a breather. Yeah. Not like we do today. It's not like today. It's like I said, all these sports, it's like, okay, I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. I get to being fresh and you want to be fresh and maybe it speeds up the game. But I just remember running backs. If you was the man, you was the man. You was the man from start to finish. And you didn't come out the game until the game was at hand, and in the fourth quarter, it's over already. And now I'm putting my second string running back in the game and second string tight end in the game because it's 34-7. We got this shit. Yeah. When they jumped out on Penn State, when it was 30-0 at the half, in the second half, Porters was still playing.
Right.
But they didn't put Peyton in the game till way later.
Yeah, yeah.
And if Najee wouldn't have been hurt, McGahee almost didn't even go to Miami because he was like, "Well, shit, I gotta sit behind. I gotta sit behind Najee and Portis."
Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, think about it, everybody. Think about that. It was a different time. It wasn't I got two backs I can play. No, I played Portis every week. But
the crazy thing about that, before I put the next statement up, is that Ohio State had the same thing last year where they had both of their backs come out. You have where you got two thoroughbreds and you just gotta you gotta make the best of it. And both of them really got to embrace that role of, we both good. That's exactly what I'm saying. Those running backs had one, maybe two good years, and then they left. Okay. And that's when what we were saying, they completely stayed home and waited until their turn, had one good year, and then next man up. Yeah.
I mean, that's why Portis left after his junior year to go pro, him and Shockey. We won a natty. I'm a first-round draft pick. I really have nothing else to prove in college unless I want to get my degree, and I can always go back and get that. So As far as playing go, even though Coker tried to talk them in the stand, it was like, no, man, you got McGahee and Gore behind me.
Right.
Shockey was like, you got Kellen Winslow behind me. You good.
Right.
And then behind him, you had Olsen, and you good.
Go get the money because the money wasn't as plentiful in college too.
No, not then like it is now. So there was no reason for them to stay. It was like, all right, we going to the NFL. We first round draft picks. There's nothing left to prove. We don't want a natty.
Right.
Today it's like, all right, the natty ain't guaranteed, and I think Mario is trying to get back to where he got. I got A+ stud number one.
Somebody said, "Don't forget fake Gore." Samuel
said,
"Don't
forget Gore." If Gore don't blow his knees out, come on.
We already know, man.
We already know. We already know, and he was still a first round pick with the knees. So it's just a different game now. It's different, Same like I said with basketball.
Yeah,
you got pro players led by the punk and. You got Lobozo leading the way, talking about I can't play every day.
Come on, don't talk about Lobozo.
No. I got my rest and 82 games, a lot of games. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
After what we watched in the 80s and 90s, and now you tired?
Yeah.
What kind of strength and conditioning y'all got? What are y'all eating? I mean,
Well, you got to even remember, conditioning is different than what it was 20 years ago with a lot of regulation. And I'm not here to debate whether they shouldn't have put some regulations on, because you remember it was some people back in the 80s, with no water breaks and people dying and stuff.
yeah.
But I get it, but it was it was strong. You had to be strong-willed back then because you wasn't getting water breaks. And no sports. I don't care if it was football, basketball, wrestling. Shit, you was out there. You
I
was
would
out
tell. Maybe some of y'all seen it, but they got the 30 for 30. But I really like the little documentary that Najee made. It's about an hour and a half. Najee Davenport made a documentary on that 2001 season, and even going before that, starting, how it all started under Butch, and it's really good and it explains a lot. It explains a lot, man. And when Swayze was the strength and conditioning coach in Miami in the late 90s, 98, 99, when he took over, man, it changed things.
Yeah.
And this was back when they had two-a-days. They didn't have no indoor facility. Miami facilities weren't the best. They don't even do two-a-days anymore. They don't do two-a-days in high school or college.
I know.
And I'm like,
I would say this.
Imagine if these dudes could do two-a-days again. How much better they would be.
It's a reason why, and this is for the younger people out there that don't understand why they call it the dog days.
Yeah.
It's a reason why you hear some people in some sports call it hell week or whatever. It's a reason why. I mean, these are something that shocks the body to get the mind caught up with the body, and if you're not ready for it, and when they start cutting a lot of that out because of,
that's why you have more. See, people, this is why you have more substitutions now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think these kids are conditioned like the two-a-day practices was everything.
Yeah.
They were everything. To come out in the morning and go hard, and then later on in the evening when the sun go down, we're going to come out here for 3 more hours and go hard 5 days a week.
Yeah.
At least 4, unless if it's a Friday game.
It's not only the body, it's the mind getting used to that. Yeah.
The body there, it was the mind. You're right, it's the mind. The two-a-days was everything, and they don't do that now.
Yeah.
They don't do that now. And that's like, why have we become so soft? Just as a society as a whole, we so soft now. To me, I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy.
We come out in the morning at 8 a.m. and we would practice till damn near noon before it got too hot. About 11. And then we come back at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and practice till dark.
Yeah.
And go hard again.
Yeah.
Again. And then finish it up with all the sprints and heels and shit.
And on top of that, people don't even know. People would do that. I remember when I was in college and wrestling, after practice, you might have another group of guys that say, hey, let's go show my age, a Big Tanny or whatever, and go get extra work in after that.
You did go back with the Big Tanny. Hell yeah, but you're right.
Right. So, I mean, it's crazy.
This will separate good from the best.
Yeah.
Right there. The ones that put in the extra.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'm not saying it's not kids that don't put in the extra. It's just things are limited today because of the new rules. That's all. It's limited. And that's why you have more substitutions now, because I don't think the kids are as conditioned as they used to be. And I think the two-a-days do have a lot to do with it. I really do. I really strongly do, because there was a time in college football during your fall practice, they was out there twice a day.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just
even think about it. Twice a day, man. 4 or 5 days a week.
It says Porter's got the starting job at Miami when they got blown out against Tech, and he was the only player that was playing with heart. I know my Miami football. Edge didn't start. Wait a minute. They got blown out by Virginia Tech in '99. At Virginia Tech, Mike Vick was the quarterback because Ken Dorsey had to come in for Kenny Kelly got hurt, and that was in '99. I remember that game. Dorsey got to come in and play because Kenny Kelly got hurt, and he missed a touchdown pass to Santana, and Santana was pissed.
but Dorsey was a sophomore in 99. He was a sophomore. I'm sorry, he was a freshman in 99. So he got to come in that game. This is the same season where they came back against Boston College, up at Boston College. It was down bad. Kenny Kelly was the quarterback in that game. 98 was the year when they got their ass beat by Syracuse up in the Dome, when Donovan McNabb and them embarrassed Miami, and they did it on purpose. That's why I got no love for Syracuse football. They did that shit on purpose, man. They brought Donovan McNabb back out. It was like 65-19 or something. They just embarrassed. They did it on purpose. And that next week is when they played UCLA, because that UCLA was supposed to play Miami earlier in the year, but because of that hurricane that fall, it got pushed back. And that's when Edge ran for 299. Portis wasn't there. Portis didn't come to the next year till 99. So 99 was Portis' freshman year, because he set the Gator Bowl record against Georgia Tech in the Gator Bowl when he broke that long run. He broke that long ass run because James Jackson had to come out. Something happened with his shoe or something, and Portis ran out there on the field, and then Coach Sondra, the running back coach, was going to pull him after that one.
Oh, yeah, Solinger, yeah.
And then he broke that long run against Georgia. That was that January 1st, 2000. I remember that game. And I think that Gator Bowl record still stands. It was like a 76-yard run by freshman Clinton Portis. Well, that 99 years when Edge was with the Colts acting a fool and got Rookie of the Year. And I think, did he get MVP too? Because Edge was acting a fool his freshman with the Colts. So anyway, like I said, the game is just it's different now, and the way they practice is different now, and the kids today, wasn't no social media then, everything is just different now. People are more entitled today, man. You see it on the job site, the way people act.
Shit, you're in line. It says NIL made it where Fletcher stayed here. Yeah.
Could have been.
Could have been, yeah.
Could have been, and also it could have been what people told him that know the draft. Hey, man, you might want to stay another year because next year is going to be a better year for you as a running back.
Yeah.
Because next year is going to be the year for quarterbacks too. That's why a lot of teams wait. Because you're looking at some of these NFL teams, some of the moves they made, like why they make this? Fletcher's going to be set up nice because somebody like Seattle next year might take him because they let old boy go to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Seattle dumped a lot of people. So
Seattle, did they keep Martinez on their roster, or did they?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about Martinez. Anybody know? Put it in the chat. Hey, this is an interesting one right here, and I think it's true because you got to remember we didn't have, before I put it up there, we didn't have protein and all that shit coming up. We actually ate food, but it says these kids are eating a lot of fake foods that we didn't eat back when we were coming up. I'm 48 years old. I've never seen so much seedless fruit back in my time like I see now.
I don't even want seedless shit.
You're right.
When I was in Germany, there wasn't nothing seedless. Every grape you ate, you had to get the seed out. It was like, okay.
You're right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Let me get this real quick.
All right, there. It's crazy. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Terrell's point there. When we were coming up, and I'm a little older than you, Terrell. I mean, it wasn't a lot of protein. It wasn't all this artificial stuff. Basically, your parents made your meals, even from the point that I remember in high school, we had parents that had different cookouts for the football team. And when I wrestled in high school, they had it for, they created meals for us back then. So it wasn't a lot of, you had trainers back then, but we had more camps than personal trainers back then. Now everybody got a personal trainer to do certain stuff. Back then it was more, you went to some camps, you didn't get a lot of individual one-on-one training from back in our day, And our parents really just made everything for us. It wasn't these, I never forget, like you see these guys now. I had a buddy, his son plays for TCU, and I remember when he was in high school, and they had, you got to eat so many steaks a week and all that. Man, look, our parents got in the kitchen. They already knew how to feed you. You have protein, you have vegetables. Did you have fried chicken? Yeah, okay, yeah. And I'm just not stereotyping, but that's just what I ate. But during the season, she baked a lot of stuff because she knew I couldn't have a lot of the some of the things that I can eat in off season. Now, granted, I caveat saying that I eat different than a lineman, you know, and that was because I actually did wrestle and I had to keep my weight down at that time, and from football season to that. So it's just different, just how things go with some of the programs that came along with these kids. And I think a lot of these kids, just because the parents, you got to think a lot of parents don't cook like our parents cooked back in those days either. And that's crazy just to even think about that too, because there wasn't a lot of eating out at that point back in the 70s and the 80s and things like that. When you ate out, it was a treat, So uh if you went to McDonald's, which we rarely did back in those days, it was a Sunday treat. Now you will see kids that eat McDonald's shit 3 times a week. Well, maybe not that much now because McDonald's is straight garbage, but you know what I'm saying. You get the point of what I'm saying, that parents don't cook a lot of home meals like they used to. So it's just a different point in time. So that's the interesting part when we talk about some of the kids being trained and being as healthy. You would think that they wouldn't get as injured more now for the simple fact of, hell, they got way better training, way better medicine, uh, uh, just so much stuff that's just way different than what we had back then. So it's just an interesting dynamic of why a lot of these teenagers coming up now, and I don't even want to say get injured more now, because you got to remember, we didn't have cable TV back then. We don't know what was going on from Florida to Maine, because you didn't know. You had local news. You don't know who all was getting injured and everything, unless it was just a big time athlete. And then you really didn't know, because you didn't even know how good some of the athletes were in other states. So it's just a different dynamic. And harkening back to what we're talking about, and Eric, he's taking a phone call right now, so we'll give him a second. Is that I look at some of the training regiments, and some of these kids are so athletic and so explosive coming right out of high school. But a lot of these kids are pigeon-toed in the roles coming out of high school too. And which is totally different. And you did have guys that was, when we came up, we didn't have X, Z, all that stuff. It was just different terminology, put it like that. So a lot of guys will say, "Oh yeah, he's playing the X, or he's playing the Z, and he's playing that." We no different than the terminology. He was a slot receiver. He's a out receiver, whatever. But you got to think of even a transformation between a slot receiver now and 2026 and a slot receiver coming out, say like when Keyshawn Johnson came out, where he was playing in the slot more. Some of these guys, these slot receivers were a lot bigger back in those days. So they had to be, of course, trained different, than what they were back in those days. So you back in there, E, or you still on there? So yeah, it's just a different time.
So I get
So
so I get the loyalty number.
and it's just an interesting time. So we're gonna go back and hold on one second there. 3 5. Yeah, he's still not working. So going back, we're gonna get back on topic, and I know we was off a little bit of topic. We're gonna talk about, does recruiting, or we already know recruiting alone doesn't build a dynasty, but we do know that elite recruiting helps build a dynasty. So I'm just wondering, with what's coming in since Mario got here, he cycled out a lot of all of Manny Diaz players. If I'm not mistaken, all of them are gone, and you would think they would be. And we're seeing what he's building right now. Can they get this team to win the national championship? Get them to the game. We see that we got elite quarterback play coming in. We talked about the competition battle coming up with Coleman, Nickel. Uh, a lot of people don't want to put Judd in the competition, but if I'm not mistaken, if somebody could correct me in the chat, Judd came in because of Dawson, if I'm not mistaken. So you would think that somewhere along the line, if Dawson signed off on him, and I'm not totally sure, but I think he did come in under Dawson, that Dawson's going to give him, to see what he can do, So do I think that I think Nickel will probably beat out Judd, but I don't know. Like I say, we'll have to see. And so you got that interesting battle of guys that they didn't brought in with Nickel and Coleman and Judd to see who's going to be the next. Say Rodriguez is a Manny recruit. Oh, okay. Thank you there. And you got your running back battles that's coming in that he's brought in. So you got that's going on. You got your lineman battles going on. He's bringing got some interesting battles that's going to be going on that offensive line and defensive line. So Mario has brought in guys to compete at a high level, at a really high level. It says Chase Smith is a Manny recruit also. Okay. So it ain't many left. That's the point I'm making, if there was any. So pretty much this turnover is all Mario. So will he get this top 5 recruiting class coming up? I don't know. I mean, he's making a strong push. It says, yes, if we can stay in the top 10 in recruiting and get the right quarterback and defense at the right time, yeah, we can win it all real soon. We almost did it this year. I really don't think Beck was good enough. That's interesting. I think Beck was good enough to get us there. Myself personally, I think he was good enough. I think that the reason we didn't get it done, my personal opinion, especially in the Indiana game, is they just it took them too long to figure out what Indy was doing. So I kind of put a lot of it on the coaching staff, some, of course, on the team itself. But yeah, I think they were good enough with Beck. I think this year they was way more balanced than the year before in the Cam. Can we replicate that with better quarterback play, more explosive play? That's going to take you over the hump. You need just to be a little bit more explosive at times. I think they had the right game plan. They knew they had to run the ball. They knew they had things they had to do to win the national championship. They just got started a little bit too slow. And sometimes starting slow can help you. Can hurt you rather. It says if we had Mendoza and they had Beck, I believe we beat them. I don't know. Because you still got Shannon Dawson calling the plays. And if you believe that he started slow for Beck, it probably would have been the same for Mendoza. I'm not sure. Like I say, because I don't put it all on Beck. Some of that was just play calling. And I love Shannon Dawson. I just think some of it just the way that they schemed us in that first half and everything. I just think that it took them too long to figure out what Indiana was doing in that first half. I mean, you just look at the total yards in the first quarter. I don't think they had over 20 yards or something crazy like that or something. So you could tell they were starting really slow. Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. It's just my opinion on that. But I do think that if they can get the balance between the two this year that they got last year with better quarterback play, more, and I shouldn't even say more explosive plays that they can have. I think they're going to be okay. The key is can they represent that or replicate that defensive plan that they had from last year? That's going to be really key to replicate defensively. I think offensively they're going to be okay. It says, are they going to be okay defensively? So we'll see. We'll see on that. Now the question is, y'all have to let me know this. Is this year's team that just passed and the team before as talented as some of those teams in the past? I think they are. I think they really are. So I don't know. I mean, when you look at those 2000 teams, how does this team stack up that just passed? It's going to be interesting when you start breaking it down and you start thinking, because this team was special that they just had, and they brought in a lot more talent. So that they got a lot of depth. Going to be interested to see how this shakes out. Can they put it all together for another run? So it's going to be interesting to see. 1 second, guys, while I shake this out. We're going to get E back at stage here in 1 second. All right. He just wrapping up a little business right there. He had to wrap up there. But yeah, so yeah, how would you rank this team for as talent-wise? Is this one of the best teams that just passed since the 2000s? Is there a team better than this team since the 2000s, since the run that they had? Do you guys believe what Gio Kane said? Do you think that if we had Mendoza instead of Beck, would we have won the national championship? I'll pose that question to Bigger Than E when he get back up in here. Because that's an interesting dynamic. I don't think Beck played as bad as people think he did. I hate to use that word game manager because it comes with a negative connotation behind it, and that's not it at all. I think Beck did what he was asked to do, especially more at the end of the season, because we wasn't asking him to pick up yards with his legs and stuff like that. You know, I look for a little bit more consistency with quarterbacks, and I think he was really consistent, except for those couple of games that he really just didn't play well. He didn't play well at all, just to be honest with you. You think of the Louisville game with all the turnovers and stuff, and but like I say, teams, every player goes through a moment where you're just not playing well, and you got to find ways to bounce back. And he found a way to turn the corner after the SMU game and to just make some plays to get the team over the hump. I think we talked about this before that we really thought they should have made should have been a little bit more explosive than what they were. Um, I don't know if it's more just the coaching style or the playing style that they were playing at the time. But I do agree that they should have been really just playing the second half of the season is what they really should have been playing the first half of the season. And I go back and I will stand by this that I think they learned something about last season. And I think you're going to see this team play with more of a sense of urgency from the start all the way through. And we talk about this every year with the Canes that they have little let ups and hiccups during the season. And I think they're going to come out a little bit way more motivated. And like I say, even saying that, I can't think of a team that really outplayed them for a whole 4 quarters. They said Mendoza was more confident than Beck. Mendoza made plays throughout the whole year to win games. Beck couldn't do that except in the Ole Miss game. I think Mendoza lost some confidence. I mean, Beck lost some confidence. I know he lost confidence after the Louisville game. So I'm not sure. You back in there, E?
Technical difficulties. I'll take care of that later.
You back in there?
Yeah, I'm
okay. You been hearing the conversation behind the scenes?
Some of it, yeah.
Okay. Gio Kane made a statement. He said he thought if Miami had Mendoza, they would have won the national championship instead of Beck. And I said, I don't know. I said, I can't say that.
Can't say, man. I'm not gonna do that. I mean, I know some people do that. I'm not gonna do that, man, about woulda, coulda, shoulda,
I'm
man.
gonna put myself on mute and take this call, but go ahead and answer that.
I don't know, man. I think Beck was. They got two different personalities, man. So I'm not gonna. I can't really say. I really can't. I'm not disappointed with last season. You know, I was disappointed with the outcome of the game, but at the end of the day, it's like it happened and it is what it is. And I've moved on from last season. I enjoyed last season. I really enjoyed last season compared to seasons before that. So, no, I don't know, man. I don't think that much of Mendoza. I really don't. I mean, he all right, but the year before he wasn't getting all that hype because he was at Cal. So they was all the hype for him because he went to Indiana. Okay. And Indiana was winning games. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I don't think he's a number one overall pick. And I don't really think he might be the best quarterback in this class, to be honest with you. That's my take. I mean,
I just got to ask the interesting question. My phone wasn't connected to bring her up on through the phone, but Sandra that usually calls into the show, she said, what would happen if a player through his coach or through his NIL agent was asked something about not to do a certain deal? How would Mario handle that situation? So basically you have a discrepancy between the player and the guy that's representing him and the coach, like Mario. What would we think Mario would do handling a player with the NIL deal?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
It is.
Because it's easy to say that well, I would say this. it depends on what type of player he is, how highly ranked he is, because all this kind of factors in everything. You can have the same weight being a guy that's coming in and you weigh down on the transfer portal list with not a need than a guy that highly needed. Like maybe we could just be honest and say like Menza. You know, he can probably command more leeway, she'll say, you know what I'm saying?
He got numbers to back it up.
Yeah. So that's so subjective. So it's I'm not really sure. I mean, he's not going to go for no BS though. You know, I mean, you could only do what you could do, you know. And I think the agents know how far to push some of these guys and whatnot, you know. So that's just an interesting question that she called in and had a question about that, and not really sure, you know, because I'm not really sure. It says Mendoza only had 176 yards passing, no touchdowns against us. Yeah, Mendoza, like I said, he made a couple of key plays, but he made some key plays. I'm not going to take anything away from Mendoza, but like again, I don't think Beck played bad. I just think Beck had a couple of spurts throughout the season where the Louisville game where he just didn't play. You could tell in the Louisville game he lost confidence in that game.
Listen, even in the Louisville game, he wasn't an F.
Yeah, he was close though. he was a D.
I mean, take away the picks. What was his final stats in the game?
Yeah. Oh, see, pull him up.
He threw a touchdown to Malachi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There was a couple of deep passes. He forced it to Malachi, who was in triple coverage, which should have been a penalty, and it wasn't called.
Yeah.
The last interception was really on Elijah Lofton. He did run the wrong damn route. That was on Elijah.
Yeah.
So
there we go right here. Let's see.
I think
he was 25 for 37, 271.
Everybody was and I think a lot of our own fan base got caught up in that over the national media talk about Carson because of what happened at Georgia the year before.
Mm.
Remember, the Cable Sports Network put that Kool-Aid, and the University of Georgia, they helped with it too. They put that Kool-Aid out there a lot. They were serving that shit every day, all day, on every college football show. Whenever they talked about Miami and Beck, it was always Beck is going to have turnovers. He's prone to throw picks and blah, because they was looking at everything from the season that he had at Georgia.
Right.
But they never focused on what was lacking at Georgia. The three things that lacked that made him press, and he admitted he had to press.
Yeah.
No line, no running game, and receivers that drop every damn ball.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all on him. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not taking all of it away. And he even didn't take it all from himself. He deserves some blame, but he's only human, man.
Yeah.
I mean, no quarterback is going to be perfect. No player is going to be perfect. You can dive into any player and say, hey, man, they had a bad game. They had a bad game.
Yeah.
They had bad this, a bad that. About the only person I can think of that didn't have a bad game is Michael Jordan.
Well, yeah. He said he's not saying he's bad. He's not saying Beck was a bad quarterback.
I'm not taking Mendoza over Carson Beck.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what nobody say. You can't tell me that Mendoza's decent season that he had this past season is better than what Beck did at Georgia, because Mendoza was at Florida. I mean, at Cal. We saw him in the game with Cam that late night when Miami was behind at Cal.
Yeah.
And he was okay. All right, but that was because Miami defense was trash.
Yeah. And they still was on his ass.
They was on his ass then. So I mean, I didn't think he was all that then, and I didn't think he was all that pretty. I mean, he got in a better system at Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
But are the Raiders really going to waste a first-round pick on him?
They say he is. And hey, look, I get called a hater about that, but hey, This week quarterback, and we're gonna talk about that on the show separately. I just think
I stand on that, man. I'm not. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, Marcus. That's his blocking. He made a lot of good catches in games. He showed some heart in with catches, but yeah, his blocking left something to be desired. He might be one player.
He might be one.
Him and Blade at defensive tackle. And Blade was good now at run stopping, but but going back to that Beck, if I had to choose right now between Mendoza and Beck, I'm taking Beck. I'm sorry.
I think I would too. What's up there, John Batista?
I'm taking Beck.
Yeah, I think I'm with you too.
Carson Beck, man. I'm not. To me, Mendoza a one-hit wonder. I think Indiana's a one-hit wonder. I really do.
Because even when I try to make those comparisons, I'm trying to think like you still going to have Mendoza in Shannon Dawson's offense. So he's going to have to be asked to do the same thing that Beck does. The question is, can he do it better than Beck?
Right.
That, in that offense, so.
And I would dare say a lot of quarterbacks that would get in Shannon's offense would look fairly decent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In Shannon's offense. I think they would look somewhat decent in that offense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my take on it. I don't think they would look bad in that offense.
And then I always couple with Beck. He had that, not Beck, Mendoza. He had that year last year coming into the playoffs. He had the reps on his belt. Remember, Carson was hurt coming into the CFP. They had Gunnar Stockton. So, Mendoza, had a little bit more to prove. He had that experience per se. I do know that he was on the roster back when 2 years prior, when Georgia went. But, like I say, Mendoza had some things in his favor, but that doesn't, I really just don't think Mendoza
was all that Miami would have went after him and got him over instead of Beck.
Yeah, I just don't think Mendoza
it ain't got it. Well, he's the hometown kid. Okay. So I'm supposed to automatically take him because he's from Miami? Because his daddy played with Mario in high school? Okay, and that don't mean shit. So now you questioning Mario and Dawson when they had to choose between signing a Beck or getting Mendoza from Cal. Who would we take?
Right. I mean, even before the season, when nobody but saying Mendoza.
Right. Well, nobody's saying nothing about Mendoza. The media did that. He had a good season with Indiana. He was putting up against. Well, when he had to play against some really good talent, he was okay.
Matter of fact, he had the Mendoza's number up against Cam or Shador or anybody that came out last year, the year before.
2 years before, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so again, for me, everybody different. I'm not taking Mendoza over Carson Beck. I'm sorry. I didn't like the way the media did Carson Beck. All the Fox and ESPN, they were trying to base all his discrepancies on what happened at Georgia when they didn't, because they didn't want to throw Kirby Smart under the bus. That was what it was all about. Who we going to throw under the bus, Kirby Smart or the quarterback? Kirby ain't going nowhere. Quarterbacks come and go. Oh, he's going to Miami? Oh, we're gonna Beck's a liability. He's known to throw picks. Well, why did he throw so many picks last year?
Right. He's getting his head beat in.
Tied together. You got to look at all that. So, okay, so now the media wants to throw Beck under the bus, and he's the bad guy, and he's the reason why Georgia didn't do this, and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe it was Kirby Smart, but we're not going to go after Kirby Smart. If that was the case, why did Kirby want him to stay so bad? He wanted Beck to stay.
Yeah. They keep saying that they wanted Gunnar Stockton out there. But yeah.
Listen, other people wanted Gunnar Stockton at Georgia.
Yeah.
But they knew if Georgia would have had the line, the running game, and receivers that didn't drop the ball, Beck would have got the nod over Gunnar because of what he did the year before with McConkey and Brock Bowers, and the line was there, and the running game was there, and Beck looked like the next Heisman Trophy guy because the other pieces were in place. Now you go to the next season, 24, it all falls apart because the running game is doo-doo. The O-line, you had linemen hurt, and they become average at best, and your receivers got Butterfingers, so he starts to press.
Yeah.
You've been hyping him up the year before because of the season he had with McConkey and Brock Bowers. You hyped him up. He's still a kid now. You hyped him up. Hey, man, you're the next Heisman. And he comes in, and now he got to press because 3 factors come into play. Line, running game, receivers. All of them took a real big dip. He has to press. Now he's throwing picks. He gets hurt in the SEC title game, and they bring Gunnar Stockton in. And then he decides to say, you know what? I can't go pro because I got this elbow injury. I'm going to heal up and I'm going to go somewhere else. Kirby wanted him to come back.
Yeah.
At that point, boosters at Georgia was like, nope, we got this kid. And Gunnar Stockton is nice. I'm going to take Gunnar Stockton over Mendoza. Now what?
Hey, Gio said, nah. He said, no, I wouldn't have took Beck over Mendoza before the season started. And he said, what? Okay.
Okay, hey, Gio, you entitled to your opinion, but I want you to tell me, what did you see out of Mendoza at Cal that looked so much better than what Beck did at Georgia? Even and I just mentioned the 3 elements that hurt him at Georgia. What did he do at Cal? What did he do at Cal that was so lights out? Remember, when old boy did in Indiana, he had older dudes that came from James Madison's 4th and 5th year.
Oh, he said he wouldn't have. Okay, to clarify, he said he wouldn't have. Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
If you look at it from just football, are you really going to take Mendoza over Carson Beck? I don't think people would.
Yeah.
I don't think
Mendoza had a good season. That's what I said. He had a good season. He had a good team around him. He had a good defense. He really didn't have to press. And in order to win a national championship, you got to have a little luck on your side. The one game that they won at the end, what was it, against Penn State or whatever, when he threw the late touchdown in the back of the end zone?
That was the one. And you know what?
Yeah.
You got to give the kudos. The receiver get all that, not him.
Yeah.
The receiver did that. That was all the receiver catching that ball and getting that foot down before he got knocked out. That was the receiver. That wasn't Mendoza.
Yeah, that was a nice catch.
And I'm going to say this right now. It's off subject, but that bullshit with Joe Montana and Dwight Clark, where he threw that touchdown against Dallas at San Francisco, he was throwing the ball away, and Dwight Clark went up and got it. He was really throwing it away, and they gave all the credit to Montana. And I like Montana. I think Montana the GOAT.
Right.
It was given, what's his name? What was the coach name? Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh.
He's a genius and blah, blah. Look, man, Joe Montana was throwing that shit away. And he went up in the air and caught that and snatched it down because he was trying to throw it out the back of the end zone because Dallas was on his ass.
Hey.
So this was the same thing with Mendoza. They was about to sack his ass, and he threw it up for grabs, and that was all receiver play. Mendoza cool. But like I said, when you get done talking, I'm not taking.
I'm a 49er fan too. So he said, hold up now. I'm a 49er fan.
Well,
hey,
I don't dislike the 49ers. I'm just keeping it 100. I think Joe Montana is a GOAT. I'll take Montana over Brady any day. And in his prime, I'm taking Joe Montana over John Brady. And that's me. And you go back to that play back in the 80s against Dallas. Montana was throwing that ball away, and Dwight Clark went up and got it. That's all. And
Question: is this the most talented team since the 2000s? Is this the best team you've seen since the 2000s?
Yes,
Right.
I would say this team and the 2011 team was loaded. Al Golden's first year, that team was loaded. That team was fucking loaded. They went 6-6, and they were loaded.
Mm-hmm.
You had Travis Benjamin. You had Lamar Miller. You had Hankerson. You had, I forgot the tight end name. You had Olivier Vernon and Marcus Forson on the defense. That team was loaded. That 11 team had the people in place. The offense was there. Jacory was at quarterback. It was the defense. They changed the scheme on defense, which cost them games.
Right.
Because they had the personnel. This team now, And the game is different now than it was in 2011.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say this is probably the most talented team since 2011, because the 11 team was probably the most talented team since 04. 04 is when DJ and all them left, and Vilma, they all graduated in 04. So that 03 squad was that last squad. The 04 squad wasn't bad. The first year they win the ACC.
Right.
But they lost to Vitek and somebody else. But that 03 team was the final year where they had a bunch of first-round picks. Vilma and DJ and a whole lot of other people. Gore, that 03 squad, they was really loaded. So I would say from 03 to 2011, and from 11 to now. And there were some other teams sprinkled in there. You know, they had some talent. There was a couple of teams with Duke that had some talented players when Duke was there. But that 11 team and that 03 team was probably the better teams in the last 20 years. I was 20. Yeah. If you want to go, what's this? 26. Yeah. So if you want to go back 24, 23 years to 03 to 11. And even after that, when Stephen Morris took over and they had what's the name of wide receiver? He was with Stacy Coley. They had some talented guys. Al Golden got some Tracy Howard. Al Golden got some talented guys.
Right.
There was just the inconsistency at OC and the defense. His buddy, when D'Onofrio was the defensive coordinator, it just didn't work out. You know.
Right.
I think if Jed Fish would have stayed another year, which I couldn't blame him for going to Jacksonville. I thought Jed Fish was the best OC Miami had since Chudzinski. Mark Whipple was up and down with his play calling.
Right.
Sometimes I liked Mark Whipple, sometimes I didn't. People blame Jacory for a lot of shit. I'm like, Jacory didn't deserve all the blame. Jacory was nice, man. I go back and watch that game against Florida State in 09. I'm like, Jacory was slanging that rock. He had Travis Benjamin. You know, you had Cooper at running back. They had a nice team that year in 09 when Randy Shannon was the coach. Randy Shannon had people coming in. People forget that Randy had some people coming. And once again, when you're going back to that time with all the Nevin Shapiro shit going on and the sanctions going on, and you had internal people at Miami, I think that had a lot to do with the demise of Miami football, because you had people at the school that didn't care about football. They wanted to make Miami about academics, and they didn't care about football. And that played a big part in that. There was so many, and that's why I say I like Al Golden, man. People blamed Al Golden, and I think looking back now, even the people that were mad at Al Golden, you got to look back and be like, man, he had to navigate through all that and still got some good dudes. He still got the Denzel Perrimans. He still got the Duke Johnsons and the Tracy Howards and the Stacy Coleys. Right. He got talented dudes.
Right. Somebody put in there, they said Hearns,
Hearns.
Perriman.
What was number 4?
Jones.
Dorsett.
Yeah.
They got some dudes, man. They got some dudes in there. It's just, it was so many other intangibles playing a factor in it, and you know, it was too much for Al Golden. If Al Golden is salty, I don't know if he's salty toward Miami or not. I mean, he's moved on. He's with the Bengals now.
Right.
You know, he had Notre Dame's defense clicking, and then he left to go to the Bengals. I mean, I can't blame him if he feels a certain kind of way toward Miami, because the man had to work with a hand tied behind his back, worrying about, are we going to get a bowl game? Are we going to sanctions this and sanctions that? And the NCAA was so inconsistent, and they effed up, and they had to investigate themselves, and they was.
And you know, that was Chris. Great. Who he's talking about?
Yeah, that was another. The defensive scheme was bad. Like I said, if you go back to that 2011 season, they had some dudes on both sides of the ball.
Isn't that crazy that we talking about that? Like we talked about the same team with Cam with the bad defensive schemes. Well, they actually didn't have the horses either. Bad defensive scheme. Just think if they would have had.
It might not even been the scheme with what's named Lance Guidry. It might have been dudes they had out there.
Yeah, they just didn't have the horses. They didn't have.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think it was so much Lance Guidry's scheme, so much as
The horse, they didn't have the
Look
players.
at the horses you had in the secondary outside of Frederick, and old boy was hurt.
Yeah.
Them dudes that they had out there, they just
couldn't tackle in space.
They just were not the guys. And Lance Guidry just had to be the sacrificial lamb. And we got lucky. They went out and got a Corey Heatherman from Minnesota. And I think he's only going to get better. So this team now, I would have to say, is the most talented team we've had in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah.
But I can't negate the talent that was there. Really, when Golden was there, there was some really talented guys on that team, man. Especially on the offense, you had some, with the Ahmad Richards and Brad Kaya and Njoku out there, and my man at running back Walton was good.
Yeah.
They had that, it was the O-line they needed.
Yeah.
Because after Brad Kaya took that ass whooping from Florida State and they lost that game on that blocked field goal, I'm thinking they won that bowl game against West Virginia, remember? And Ahmad Richards looked good. And after that, it wasn't the same. Brad Kaya said, see you. That motherfuckers knocked my tooth out.
He said, I'm up.
He said, you know what? He bounced. And Joku bounced. They went pro. It's like, they
couldn't fault him either.
Couldn't fault him. I'm like, if they would have just had a line to protect Brad Kaya, he might have came back.
Yeah.
And Joku might have came back, because I'm like, man, that next year there was the 10-0 season out. Could you imagine the 10-0? That same team with Kaya at quarterback.
Yeah.
That same team with Njoku at tight end.
Yeah.
That same 10-0 team now. Ahmad Richards was there. But just imagine if Brad Kaya was at quarterback versus what's his name? And I ain't taking nothing away from him, but they wasn't the same.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that was in play, man, that played a factor in all this. So yeah.
It says, I know we agree with that. Said it probably wasn't any of the coaches back then. Miami itself wasn't keeping up with the times with facilities and everything else. Really, Mario got it way better than the coaches after Butch Davis and Coker.
Yeah, he got it better because they started to invest in the program.
Yeah.
It started under Mark Richt, and Mark Richt had to put up some of his money to get that facility built.
Yeah.
And I remember Mark Richt saying when he was coaching there, the one thing we lack is depth.
Yeah, same thing Mario said, right?
Right. He saw where the game was going.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same as like when he took up when Mark Richt was the offensive coordinator at Florida State, the end of the 90s, into 2000. Remember, 2001 was his first year as the head. I believe that was his first year as the head coach at Georgia.
Right.
It didn't take him long for Georgia. And Georgia still finished strong his first year coaching there in 01. Miami won the Natty, but Georgia finished the rankings, I want to say, in the top 10 somewhere. Might have been top 5. He had Georgia rolling his first year because he was the OC at Florida State in 2000.
Right.
Under Bobby Bowden. So this game was different then. And so even he knew that the game was changing. By the time he got to Miami, he saw the game was changing. We're going to have to rotate players more. And he said it himself, we lack depth.
Yeah.
And he knew on the line of scrimmage, we lacked the depth.
Mm-hmm.
And then here comes Manny Diaz, because he was burnt out by the end, and you could tell he was dealing with personal health issues. So he went on ahead and retired. And Manny comes in. Manny got some good players, Rooster and all these other players. He had some talent. He didn't quite have the depth.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't quite get over the hump with certain teams. And his team wasn't as disciplined.
Right.
Manny's teams were not disciplined. He showed a lot of favoritism. I like what Manny did when he went back and got Jeff Thomas, because remember, Jeff Thomas was going to transfer to Illinois.
Yeah.
Manny was like, nope, we're going to fly to Illinois.
Yeah, they flew.
They flew to East St. Louis and said, no, man, you got to come back.
As a matter of fact, they just sent the old boy from East St. Louis supposed to go down for a visit. The runner.
I would implore Mario, listen, that's a pipeline. As much as you want a local pipeline, if you want an out-of-state pipeline, keep that door open with East St. Louis.
Yeah.
Because they got, you and I know this, but they don't know this in Florida, but we know what they got coming out of there every year.
Yeah. Right.
And if Illinois don't want to tap into what they got at home, we'll gladly tap into what they got.
Right. Yeah.
I know about the kid at East St. that's coming
Came
down
from DeSoto, Texas, transferred to East St. Louis. Beast. He might, and if they can get him, he could replace Fletcher because he a big boy. He about 220 something. He ain't got some jets.
Yeah, he another Fletcher McGahee type because McGahee was 6'2", weight 215, 217, close to 220, and McGahee was that's my favorite all-time running back. I like them all, but McGahee was my dude.
It says, they said, bro, you on point. I'm a 70s baby, been a long-time fan. The NCAA shit is setting us back 20 years, but the brand was always the standard attention to detail. Detail is back. The talent is back 2 to 3 deep.
Yeah, the talent is there.
Yeah,
it's there. Like I said, 50 yards, 50 seconds away from winning the whole thing. I ain't mad at nobody on the team. I ain't mad at Carson Beck. I ain't mad at people. We could argue too. We blew in the face. So-and-so was opening over the middle when he really wasn't. They was locking Malachi down.
Right.
It is what it is. Ain't no sense of rehashing it. It happened. They won. Okay. He was this close. And if you look at the trajectory of the program,
yes, sir.
Every year, Mario has addressed where they needed addressing. So there's really nothing left to address. We got there. Let all these national people on YouTube everywhere else count Miami out.
Right.
And Miami don't have a chance to get back there. Like, you can't even look at them as they should be.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy to me. They got Indiana ranked higher than Miami. Like,
this is my question. When I always think about this stuff and how they kept saying they don't know if they can repeat. Miami ain't the only team that lose players every year. Georgia lose players every year. Alabama lose players every year. Ohio State lose. You know what I'm saying? They not the only team that lose players. The thing that made them special in the past is that they've reloaded. And that's what Mario is doing. He's reloading.
Say it again for the audience.
You know, and it frustrates me that the national media, well, I ain't gonna even say the national media, I'm gonna say, because some of them be disingenuous. Some of them say one thing on TV, but behind the scenes they saying another. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know how good these players is. A lot of these guys that follow these players coming out of high school. And if we're getting the players coming out of South Florida that normally Ohio State and normally Georgia get, why don't you think that we would be as good as they would be getting the same damn players? So it makes no sense. And that's the disingenuous part of the national media when they say these type of things. So it baffles me when they even say that. So I just go and just, I scratch my head when I start thinking why they even say some of the stuff they say or they are saying about the Hurricanes and some of the things that they believe that they might not have a chance to make it back. You know, I just don't see what they see.
I don't see it either, man. I really don't see it. You returning all this offensive weapon. Your running back room is the best in the conference and one of the best in the country. The receiver room is there. The quarterback room is there. I don't know why there's a question on the O-line. It was already deep anyway.
He was deep, and they've been going. They went against Bain and Mesidor and all these guys at practice anyway.
That's why I don't. You know, how can you? I just think it's a combination of they don't like Miami and all these I call them the name brand schools. Now they want to keep them up there.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the fuck is Indiana a name brand school? Because they won a natty, but look, they lost a lot of stuff. Ohio State lost a lot. You got these same schools up there. Now you on Oregon's jock.
Right. Oregon good for uniforms.
Right. They good for that. But when it come to really playing ball, come on, man.
What up, Big Kev? I see you out there. It says, what's up, Pinellas? He says, what's happening, fellas? Help us get those St. Louis kids. We need them dogs. We trying. There's plenty of them up here.
There's plenty of them.
There's
plenty of them up here. There's plenty of them. So we'll see, man.
He said he came for 305 day and was impressed of how they used Fletcher, hosted by Fletcher and Malley. Talking about old boy from East St. Louis.
Yeah.
I know he's supposed to be back down there in June too. I think I saw on one website.
Hey, look, for Miami to get these kids, and I've been seeing it at a lot of these 5-star kids that they talking about coming to Miami. They don't have to badmouth over schools.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Other schools badmouth Miami. Miami don't have to. It's like the military.
Yeah.
You know, the United States Navy and the United States Army and the United States Marine Corps, they kind of disparage each other, and they really talk about the Air Force. When I was looking at going into the Air Force recruiter looked at me and said, and I'm partial because I'm an Air Force brat, but he told me, we do not have to talk about other branches. We don't have to call you and hound you on the phone and come to your school and come to your practice and come to your house and all that. We're going to get our people. They never did that. Whereas the Navy and Marines would always want to come to your house and come to the school and come to your after practice, and they was on you and they talk bad about the Air Force. And Miami the same way. When they're good, they don't have to go out here and talk bad about Texas and Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and Florida State. It speaks for itself.
Yeah.
They don't have to do that. The formula's there. We're winning.
Winning helps.
We have arguably the best wide receiver in the country, because there was a thing I saw a debate. Who if you had to play right now, who you taking, Malachi, Jeremiah Smith?
Right. I saw that. You know, I try to be impartial.
I commented, you know, overall receiver, I'm taking Malachi. And the reason why, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Canes fan, when I look at his game, Malachi not only is a dog, but he blocks.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a blocker.
Yes, sir.
Jeremiah, I ain't taking that away from him. He's a hell of a possession receiver. He got speed. He's a dog, but he don't block too well. And that showed in that pick 6 game we saw at your house when he couldn't block my man, and he took it to the house. He totally whiffed on that block.
Right.
So
I've seen that debate going on. I try to look at they both do some different things.
Different things, man. They do different things, man. So
and one of those things, it's just weird because it's kind of like, what do you like? You like Corona or Dos Equis, or you like, you know what I'm saying? It's like what do you really like? But I like the versatility of Malachi. You know, I just like that you could put him in so many different positions. And that's not saying that they move Jeremiah around, because I've seen him in the backfield a little bit. I've seen him, you know, move all over the field. So it's just, I think Jeremiah, he does most of his damage from the receiver position. Malachi is dangerous from wherever you put him at on the field.
Right.
I think that's the difference that I see in between the two. So if somebody says, hey guys, if you haven't hit that like button, smash that like button too. It says, let's see how Oregon does when Mario recruits be gone. Yeah, shit, he still got some. I guess he might still have a handful there at Oregon.
This is Mario's what? This is going to be Mario
5th year, right?
5th year.
Yeah.
So I would think if there are any left at Oregon, they're seniors or 5th-year seniors now.
Yeah.
Or they were redshirted. these are mostly Dan Lanning's guys now
Yeah.
out there at Oregon. But we're gonna see, man. Oregon didn't show me much when they let Indiana beat them. Now, like I said, Indiana got a good defense. I'm not taking nothing away from Indiana. They had a good team last year. And that spoke volumes when they went out to Oregon and beat Oregon at their place. That told me two things, that Indiana was for real and that Oregon was overrated.
Again.
Yeah,
see, again, because see, that's what my thing with Oregon.
All the Oregon fans need to just pipe down, because I know they all had a lot of choice shit to say about, Mario when he was there as the coach. And I'm like, okay, you entitled to that, but you got Dan Lanning now. What is he doing? What have you done for me lately? Because you ain't won the Pac-12 when he was there, I don't think, and they ain't won no Rose Bowl.
The thing that frustrated me with
Oregon, Rose Bowl and Ohio State beat their ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The thing that frustrated me with Oregon was, and I ain't going to say I'm not an Oregon fan, but when it comes time to play physical football, they can't play physical football. It's just, they got a lot of speed, but when it comes time to line them up, 11 on 11, get down and get nasty, they just ain't proven to do that, So until they're able to do that, they're going to carry that stigma. What's up now? He said, what's up, OG? What we got out here? Miami like the Yankees. You love us or you hate us. It is what it is. Yeah, I agree with that.
Basically.
Hey, I definitely agree with that. Miami got that dollar. We can get damn near anyone we want. Yeah.
And that's what's upsetting for a lot of people right now. Miami has the money now to play the NIL game with them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it 100, man. Miami got the money now.
Right.
They got the boosters now. They got a couple billionaire, 2-3 billionaire boosters now that are putting the money in the football program. And this is what got the SEC in such an uproar. They in such an uproar that they got to Nick Saban, they got to go lobby the politicians to do something.
Right.
Did you see what Luke said?
No, I haven't seen it.
Whether y'all like Luke or not, go look at what he said about that. That was weak. That's some weak shit, man, because all these Alabamas, they've been doing this for so long under the table, paying kids and buying them cars and shit. And when it was you winning and you had a chokehold on college football,
right,
it wasn't a problem.
Right.
But now it's a problem now that Miami and I've been saying this for a long time, for years, when everybody said Miami trash. I said, yeah, we might be trash. But when the day comes,
right,
and the playing field get back even with this money, you're going to see if they can put up the same money Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State can put up and Clemson can put up.
Right.
And look at Dabo. Dabo Sweeney is he done fell off because he didn't want to fuck with the NIL. He didn't want to mess with the NIL. He didn't want to pay. And he fell off.
Now they want to kind of quietly creep back in there.
Right.
He want to quietly creep up in there now, No. But now he try to put people on blast. He try to put Ole Miss on blast and all that, and everybody trying to act like he this beacon of moral compass. When I'm thinking like, man, get out of here with that, man.
You made a moral compass for it because. I ain't mad at him. You had your shot. You didn't take your shot.
Right.
You didn't take your shot when you could have. You didn't take it. Okay, you didn't take your shot.
Somebody said, wonder what Jeff Thomas doing. The funny part, we wonder it too. I reached out to Jeff Thomas for a full disclaimer, trying to get an interview with Jeff. Been some months back, haven't heard back from him, but I'm still going to try to reach out to him, still try to get an interview with him. So the answer to your question, I don't know what he's doing at this moment.
I don't know what he's doing either.
Yeah. And hope he's doing well. Anybody out there that know him that might hear this that can get us contacted with Jeff, email me at zoneandsports@gmail.com and we'll try to put something together.
I hope he's doing well too.
Yeah, me too.
I hope he's doing well. That's all I can say. I do hope he's doing well because I liked him a lot. And when he left, I was like, damn, I didn't want to lose that. I sure didn't want to lose him.
Right.
And Diaz went and got him quick. Like, no, we can't let this go.
Hey, I don't blame him. He's a combination. He was crazy combination. Said Miami put production on the field this year. These kids have tangible and visual evidence of what the U is capable of. Yeah, can't disagree.
Yeah, this is nothing but a benefit for Miami, because they saw what was on the field. They see what's out there. They see the offense. And like I said, Dawson is only going to get better.
Right.
Heatherman's only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
All these returning kids coming back. You returned a lot of people, man.
Right, a lot.
Yeah, you got to look at this. You're not taking a step. Even Bain said himself, man, they might be better than us next year.
Yeah.
Okay. The dudes they got coming back on that D-line, they might be even better than what we just had. And this is coming from Bain.
Yeah.
And Mesidor. They're like, hey, we were really great, but these cats coming behind us, they some killers.
Yeah, man.
They some killers with Armando Blunt. They are, dude, you got Blunt and old boy at tackle?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
With the ends we got with Lightfoot and the other kid that they made him stay out because they knew he had a little injury. No, you're going to sit out because we know Mario is not stupid. They know what they're doing. This D-line might be the best D-line in the country again. And they're much better. You got Armando Blunt and my man number 5, that was the 5-star. He gonna be a junior now. Coming back, they might be even better at stopping the run this year than last year.
Right, yeah.
Okay. We're gonna see how well we do with the linebacker position. But Motori coming back, I don't know, y'all could teach about him coming back for his 8th or 9th, or I don't give a fuck. What is it?
I say we don't give a damn.
The man had injuries, a red shirt injury, and all this, a COVID year. Hey, man, you can say what you want.
Hey, look, now this is legal. It ain't like Trinidad Chambliss and some of these other guys that's trying to come back.
Now, what's up with him at Ole Miss? Because they tried to get him some because he had a throat injury. A throat thing is the reason why they're saying they was trying to bring him back for another year.
Well, the NCAA just stepped in. They trying to get it to the Supreme Court. They said, so I don't know right now.
I think they're doing that because this next year is going to be a really good quarterback class.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have Menza at Duke, old boy at Texas. He going to go.
Archie Manning,
Archie going pro.
Yeah.
Gunnar Stockton probably going to go pro. You're going to have a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year.
You got Menza that'll probably go. He might go pro if he have a hell of a season this year.
Yeah, because he's eligible for another year too.
Lenore Sellers.
Yeah.
So
the kid at A&M.
Yeah.
Oregon with him, Dante. It's a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year. So and NFL teams are peeping that. They're like, okay.
Somebody called you a thief out here. They said, what's up, fellas? He just brought back bad memories with that Jim Kelly jersey. Mine was stolen in 2005 when my house got broken into.
Damn, dog.
You went down there and stole the jersey? No. What's up, IMAX?
Man, that's about. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's one thing you don't never want to happen. Motherfucker breaking your house.
Sure don't.
That's a violation, man. Come on.
Right. Hey, that's crazy. This is I got Miami versus Texas in Vegas for the Natty. I don't know. It's too early for me to start picking that. No selective enforcement by the NCAA. Yeah, the NCAA. Well, you know what? I think they really are trying to buckle down on this eligibility thing, because what happened is, from my understanding, they believe that the Mississippi Supreme Court was biased against the NCAA, which I kind of agree to. That's why they gave Trinidad that extension. They saying, oh, yeah, well, we think it's okay. Well, that's why the NCAA trying to step in and say, no, we try to get this to the full Supreme Court because this got bigger ramifications for eligibility and fairness with the kids. So if they can just go in and say, okay, well, we don't accept this medical red shirt that you tried to get, or this medical explanation that you tried to give, and your home state Supreme Court say, well, yeah, it benefits us if you play because you get our state money in this, and you overlook with the NCAA, it's going to have negative ramifications. Now you're going to have guys, hey, if I'm a star, step in and get me an extra year. The hell with the NCAA. So that's why I think they're trying to kick that up there.
Could be.
That's
could be. That don't sound far-fetched to me.
Yeah, so
that don't sound too far-fetched to me. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of ramifications behind it. So,
yeah.
But like I said, I just think it's funny with the whole this whole thing with getting Saban involved and getting the government involved. I think we got other shit to worry about. And
I think some of that stuff just more show too, but we ain't gonna go into political, the political thing. It's Miami has always had money. Just
I would agree with that.
Yeah, just the right people behind the program.
I would agree with what Ronnie said, because if Ronnie and I had the money, we've always had the money.
Right.
Our pockets been deep. We're alumni and boosters, but do I want to invest my money in a product that I'm not going to get a return on?
True.
A lot of people were waiting to see I got to see the school want to do it. I got to see the president and the athletic director that want to do this, that want to get this program back to where it was, and then I'll invest my money because I'll see a return on mine.
Because look at it like this, even now, I don't know. I know you have been talking about. I did get tickets to the Florida State game too, so yes, sir.
You already got them?
We'll talk off camera. We'll talk off camera.
Okay, all right.
We'll talk off camera on that.
All right.
Anyway, but that's the point of investing, and I've seen like what some of the tickets are going for, and I'm thinking like, God dog it. But when you're not a good program, you're not going to invest your money into, trying to help the student body, trying to. Your boosters coming back, or even as simple as buying tickets to games. You know what I'm saying? When if you're not feeling that the program is doing what's best, why are we taking our hard-earned money and flying down or driving over, paying for a football game?
Right. Right.
So,
right. You and I go to games. I've been going to a game every year.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's hard if I want to go down there and they're not trying to. I'm a fan,
right?
I'm gonna go anyway, because there's a lot of other things I like to do in Miami besides just going to the game. There's a lot of things to do down there. There's a lot of other things to do besides just South Beach. So I don't even do South Beach.
No,
there's so much other things. Shout out to my wife because she found stuff that I didn't even know about. We had a blast. And it's been 2 years. We went down there for spring break in 24. But I'm going to continue to go down there, but we want to see a return on the investment. So right. if I got all the zeros in the bank and I'm alumni, I want the same return as the boosters get at Georgia and Bama and Ohio State. I want to see my return. The people out in LA, you think the USC people, they ain't got people with paper out there in California.
Yes, sir.
To see something happen with USC. We're not gonna keep pumping money in this and y'all ain't winning.
Yeah, even UCLA.
I'll give y'all a perfect example. Look at Kansas. There's a video on YouTube, the University of Kansas. They are building some shit out there, bro.
I believe it.
They're building a brand new stadium. It's sick what they're doing at Kansas. They are really trying to. They had a down year this year. Dude, they really recruiting. They are trying to turn Kansas, or they trying to make Kansas the new Big 12 power.
Hey.
Since Oklahoma bounced, they left and Texas left. They, instead of laying back and letting Baylor and Houston, the other Texas teams, they got money too.
Right. Yeah.
It's an all-out fight to get some Big 12 dominance in there in football. They don't see the problem is the SEC thought it was going to be nothing but the Big Ten and them in this football thing, and everybody else is going to fall off.
Right.
They wasn't expecting little old school from South Florida all of a sudden to come along and make the ACC relevant.
Right.
See, Miami getting all this money, and then they share the money. They split some of the monies with the other schools in the conference. They didn't want that. The SEC didn't want that. The Big Ten didn't want that.
Right.
But especially the SEC, because now Miami sits in the South. Miami ain't going to be going up to Indiana and Ohio and all, doing too much recruiting. They might go up there and look at a kid or two. Their hotbed is right there in Florida and right there in the Southeast. We're going to get some kids that maybe look at us from Georgia and the Carolinas and Mississippi and Louisiana. We're going to go after some of LSU's kids. We're going to look at them.
Right.
So they worried about Miami now.
And they also worried about the ACC in general, because think of this, E.
They're not as bad as everybody making them out to be.
That and the college football playoffs is set up to where the SEC, if I'm not mistaken, they still have to share their revenue in the playoffs. ACC don't.
Nope.
So
that's why Miami got to keep all that money.
Right.
So all them games.
So you seeing this now, it's like, well, damn. Of course you want more SEC teams in there, because now you got more teams sharing the pot. Look, in the playoffs.
And we didn't cover this. I know you mentioned at the top about teams complaining about Miami getting Mensa. First of all, to the GM at whatever ACC school it was, I don't know who it was, that was crying about Miami committed robbery and daylight by getting Mensa from Duke.
Right.
Miami paid $10 million for him.
Yeah.
$10 million. Duke wasn't crying.
Sure wasn't.
Duke wasn't crying at all.
Can't even say nothing else.
Miami gave Duke $10 million. They didn't steal shit. When somebody if you rob the bank, that means the bank took a loss and the robber got the money.
Right.
This was not a robbery. This was just some rhetoric from an ACC GM that was upset. Miami paid $10 million to Duke. So Duke gave up Mensa and walked away with $10 million.
Right.
Both parties was happy. Duke a private school, but you think Duke ain't going to take $10 million?
Right, yeah.
Come on with that.
Just picture this.
Knock it off.
The less SEC teams that make it in the playoffs, the less money that conference gets.
Thank you. That's what they worried about. And
that's what they worried about.
And it's better for college football. And this may be the last year we get 12 teams in. That's why they want to expand the playoff. They want to expand it and get more teams from the SEC and Big Ten in there.
Yep. It's all about money.
They know the Big Ten, the ACC schools, some of them are really trying to make strides to get better. A la Louisville, SMU, and Virginia.
Right.
The Big 12 got good teams, a la Texas Tech, Houston, Kansas.
BYU.
They trying to do something. It's not going to be all about the SEC and the Big 10.
Right.
Okay? The other two conferences saying, hey, wait a minute. We're not just going to lay down and let y'all have all the good, and then we only get one or two teams in from the ACC and one or two teams in from the Big Ten, and each of y'all get 4 or 5 teams. What?
Right.
That's why the SEC wanted to go to a 9-game conference schedule too.
Right.
They don't want to play out of conference because we don't want to have to go and Ole Miss travel to Virginia and catch an L.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Indiana got to travel to Houston or travel to Baylor and catch an L. It's an out-of-conference game against one of the very conferences we're trying to eliminate the most.
Right.
So we're going to play 9 games in the SEC and have 3 out-of-conference games, and 2 of those games are going to be against high school teams.
Right.
We'll play one somewhat decent team from another conference. Just look at the schedules.
Well, now they should, yeah. Because now if you got 9 conference games, so you only get
3 games out of conference.
3 games out of conference. And then, some of them next year only got, like I think Clemson only got, they playing 10 conferences because they consider the Notre Dame game being technically a Power 4. But so basically, for you guys don't know what you're talking about, you playing 9 conference games, but you do have to, for full transparency, play 1 Power 4 team too. So you have to play 10 Power 4 teams.
As it should be.
Right.
As it should be. All this playing soft teams. I give much kudos to Miami and Ohio State and your Florida, because they play HBCUs from their state. Ohio State played Grambling. Miami plays Bethune and FAMU every year. I don't have a problem with that because, number one, the HBCU get a lot of money.
Right.
Miami paid last year. They paid Bethune-Cookman $750,000 to play Miami and bring their band.
Yeah.
The year before, when they played FAMU, it was the same thing. You come down to Miami and bring your band. You think they're gonna turn 750 G's away?
Right.
No. Ohio State paid Grambling close to the same thing to bring their team up to Columbus. I'm cool with that.
Right.
The HBU's already taken a hit as it is, especially politically with, I don't want to go into all that, but with them cutting the funding for these schools. So whether it's your state politics or federal, they cutting the funding. So if the HBCUs like Southern and Alcorn and Grambling and Bethune and FAMU, if they can play the bigger colleges once and get the money and they give you extra to bring the band, come on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm tired of seeing your Alabamas and Georgias, and even Clemson did it with Dabo, drank some of that too. We're going to play a Furman in November.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to touch on. If you're going to, I think every team needs a tune-up game, kind of like the NFL with preseason. College don't have preseason. If you're going to play Furman or whoever, you need to play beginning of the year. I'm not into you having a cupcake game in November. 9 games into the season, 8 games into the season.
Where you can rest your starter and pad your stats and just kind of position yourself in the rankings with the cable sports network, because you done beat the shit out of a high school team
70-0, and then they look like, ooh,
from Eastern Kentucky that ain't even on your level.
Right.
Yeah, they get some money. That's why Deion said no. When he was at Jackson State, they was trying to see would he play Alabama.
Right.
Hell no.
Right. He trying to get your players hurt.
Commercials. You see us on Aflac commercials together, but I got the skill players to play with Bama, but I don't have the trenches to go with Alabama. I'm gonna get my dudes killed. It's like apples and oranges. My trenches versus Bama's trenches. You're gonna get my guys hurt. I'm not gonna risk my guys getting hurt just because he said, give me a couple years. Now, since then he went to Colorado, but if he would have had a couple years at Jackson State to recruit the line, he might have been able to go up against, and even though Saban left, a SEC school, might have been Alabama, it might have been Georgia, it might have been Auburn, but for Jackson State to compete against that, he knew that, we match up skill player wise, but in the trenches we would get killed because they got the bigger dudes, they getting the better 4 or 5-star recruits. They getting the top-notch guys that we're not getting on the line. And he wasn't even getting them at Colorado.
Right.
So he knew that's why no, I agree with that. If you're going to play a tune-up game.
Play at the beginning of the season, treat it like
game of the year, second game of the year.
You treat it just like a preseason game, which they don't have preseason, but that's the whole purpose of playing some of the lesser teams. I'm like you, you put teams at a disadvantage when you play that team later in the year. You get to sit and rest your players. They play 1 quarter or whatever. If they even play that, they might play half a quarter. You up 14, 21-0. You sit them.
You sitting them.
Yeah.
You sitting them down, and then now they're done.
Right.
Okay, they done now. You know.
Right. We take more before we get on out of here. It says Kurt Herbstreit said it on College Game Day on live TV after Miami lost to Michigan State. He was asked what would it take for Miami to get back to the U. He answered, until the athletic department, administration, and the president all on the same page, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we all heard that.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's why the boosters wouldn't make any investments in the school until that trifecta was together. AD, president, coach. When you get the trifecta together, then somebody like me or anybody else that got the zeros to do it, now I'll be willing to invest in the football program. I don't mind giving money to volleyball and swimming and lacrosse and track and field. But if you're not going to produce on the football field, why should I invest my money? I'm not going to get a return on that investment. That's with any business decision. I'm not going to give you all my money and y'all go out there and be mediocre.
Right.
And this is why you're seeing teams in Texas, like a Texas Tech, they starting to spend money. They got oil money.
Right.
They starting to see now, if we want to compete with Texas and Texas A&M, even though we ain't in the same conference, we in the same state.
Right. Yeah.
This oil money is around here.
Right.
And now you see Houston and SMU a la Dallas, and TCU is in Dallas.
Yeah.
They okay. If we want to compete and not let the Texas Longhorn take over the whole state with A&M in a very close second, because A&M wasn't about to concede to Texas and let them have it all.
Right.
We're going to have to spend some money. Right. Otherwise, we better just stick to basketball, because Houston got a hell of a basketball team.
Right.
And just say, well, football-wise, we'll just be average if we're lucky.
Right.
So I mean, these schools, they putting up the money. They putting up the money. Michigan is putting up the money. We'll see what Virginia Tech do. I think Virginia Tech is starting to put up the money because they got the coach now. They tired after Beamer left. Virginia Tech got tired of they've been mediocre for 20 years.
Right.
Virginia Tech has been mediocre after they've been good. They played for a national title against Florida State when they had Mike Vick. Even after Mike Vick left, Beamer still had teams that went 8-2, 9-2 teams. They put quality on the field. It was no easy task to go to Blacksburg, Virginia, and play against Frank Beamer,
right?
Because he had a well-coached and well-staffed team. But since he left, they've fallen off, and now they got James Franklin.
And they're going to try to rebuild that program.
They're trying to rebuild their program to get it back to what it was, and I think they'll be kind of successful doing that because they're in competition with Virginia. And they're going to be in competition with the Carolina teams.
Right. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Also, hit that like button. Helps us get out in the algorithm. And we'll be back here same time, same place, Sunday next week. Until then, we out.
We out. Y'all have a great week. Have a great week. And if you're in an area with weather, just hold on. It's almost over.
Yes, sir. All righty.